and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Football is full of surprises. After 2 weeks of a new season, the unbeaten quarterbacks include Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, and Sam freaking Darnold. And for Cardinal fans, here's the biggest, bestest takeaway of all. The quarterback we saw on the field Sunday at State Farm Stadium is a quarterback capable of winning a Super Bowl in Arizona. Don't laugh, don't hate, don't roll your eyes. Kyler Murray was that good. He made the big plays. He made the easy plays. He did the freakish stuff that only he can pull off. He was more than a handful. Just ask Dan Orlovsky, who said after the game that Kyler Murray looked like a top 5 player in the NFL. Best of all, there was nothing about his performance that we haven't seen before. It's just never been this complete or all-encompassing or this promising, because Murray is healthy, he has experience, he has perspective, he's found maturity, he's got a real complement of skill players, he has coaches he trusts, and a system that is miles beyond what Murray experienced in the first 4 years of his career. Now, I still have legitimate concerns about the Cardinals' roster of defensive players, but a dominant Murray changes the game for everyone, because a top 5 quarterback can take you a long way in today's NFL. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
For the aggregators, for the content creators, for the podcasters, for the tweeters, Kyler Murray is no longer yours to kick around. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find a new joke. It's over, guys. You've been feasting on this guy for 2 years, 3 years. The buffet's closed. No more. This is no joke. Kyler Murray annihilated the Los Angeles Rams. And if you're going to say, well, the Rams had all these injuries, Cooper Kupp being hurt had nothing to do with how Kyler Murray played, and neither did the Rams' offensive line. All the story week 1 about the Cardinals, why would you draft Marvin Harrison if you don't give him the ball? All right, fine. I'll throw him 2 touchdowns in the first 5 seconds of the game. Kyler Murray did not miss a single deep pass yesterday. He ran, he eluded, he chucked, he did everything you want him to do. And I also think he ended the absolute 3-year feeding frenzy of content making fun of him. The short jokes, the video game jokes. My game ball goes to great quarterback, not great fodder for the internet, Kyler Murray.
It's Kyle Brandt this morning on Good Morning Football and NFL
That's
Network.
well done. I had not heard that.
Yeah. He hit on a lot of the things that we talked about last week. And I use the word army. There's an army of people just waiting to pounce on Kyler Murray. Now, while I agree with what Kyle Brandt said, I don't think that army is satisfied. I think that army gets quieted down by this, because the next time Kyler Murray has a tough play or commits a turnover in a big spot, they're going to come out. But for him, Kyler Murray to come out basically in his first year as a full-time starter after a devastating knee injury. He's played well in these 2 games. Has not thrown a pick yet. Has not really put the ball in jeopardy outside of the strip sack in Buffalo last week. He looks a lot more mature. We talked about the maturity as a leader. How does that lend itself to what happens on the field? He has looked very comfortable on the field as a leader and a steadying force for this offense.
Two things about that. The quote there were a lot of very interesting things said after the game. The quote that I really vibed on was what Kyler Murray said, and I repeated that quote to Kyle Vanden Bosch about when you play for each other, good things happen. There was a time when Kyler Murray's teammates would never feel that way about him. That I'm not playing for that dude. That dude ain't playing for me. And that has all changed. That shows you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was a game against the Rams in L.A. late in the season a few years ago when Kyler Murray got banged up and there was this uneasy nature on the sidelines. Is he going to come back? And he finally came back, and he took a lot of heat for the way he handled that particular thing. And I think there was some people on the Cardinals sideline that day that walked away with that feeling. Like, is he playing for us?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt there were players rolling their eyes at him at that point in time. That's all changed. Now, the idea that he threw a perfect game yesterday, aside from Howard Balzer. Aside from Howard Balzer, I'm not sure anybody understands what 158.3 means in terms of statistics, because it's just an aggregation of different categories. I've seen guys post that perfect number where you go, oh, I didn't know he was that good in that game. So that number doesn't really. It's not like throwing a perfect game in baseball where you're like, oh, that's perfection, right? It's not perfection.
It's the highest rating you can reach under that scale.
That's right. And so in that case, you have to kind of like contextualize that, but at least say symbolically, you can say without any hesitation that a quarterback who cannot see the field cannot post a perfect quarterback rating. So all the people who take it to the level that Kyler Murray will never, Kyler Murray can never, Kyler Murray won't, Kyler Murray can't. That's what yesterday's game was, why it was so powerful. That's what Kyle Brandt was speaking to. There's a lot of people who, again, he has been a piñata in some areas. People love to just kind of joke about his height and his stature.
Yes.
Instead of celebrating it.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, it should be. You're exactly right.
It
should be a celebration.
Yes.
Kyler Murray is closer to, I mean, at least in stature, the average individual.
Yeah.
It's not when you look at football players and go, that guy's a freak of nature.
That's
in
right.
In a lot of ways, Kyler is, but not from a physical, imposing physical nature standpoint.
Right.
It's not just national, though. I got to share this with you.
All right.
So I'm at the game as a fan yesterday with my kids. Cardinals offense gets introduced. Kyler Murray's the last player to be introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinal fans sitting behind us. Couple. Jim Barnett, the PA announcer, gives at quarterback from Oklahoma, #1, Kyler Murray. Greeted by a Cardinal fan, the woman in the couple behind us, booing him.
No.
Yes. So it's an uphill battle all the way around for Kyler Murray.
How did they react as the game progressed?
I didn't notice much noise making after that.
Listen, and again, there's two ways you can look. There are people who have opinions, and there are people who have opinions and have to be right. Don't be the latter person.
No.
If you have an opinion and you're wrong, change your opinion.
So much of sports fandom has become, I've made my decision
Yes.
on day one about this person.
I'm digging my heels in and I won't change.
That's right. I'm intractable. I'm not changing my mind.
And I referenced this a couple of weeks ago. Somebody responded to me on Twitter with something that it wasn't even Cardinals related, but the response to me was, silence, Kyler hater. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I remember you and Bickley once upon a time trying to run Kyler Murray out of town.
For goodness sake.
And my like that, trying to run somebody out of town and evaluating their play, was I always the highest on Kyler Murray? No. Has he done the things that I wanted to see him do from day one, and he's here in year 6? Yes. I'm not one of those people that's going to dig my heels in and say, that was my early assumption on this person, and I'm not going to change, even though my eyeballs are going to tell me differently.
I think you'll acknowledge that I have been among the most fervent, consistent Kyler Murray supporters and backers and believers, and yet there are questions that I have raised, because that's okay too. If you support somebody doesn't mean you have to talk nice about them 100% of the time.
No,
it's that whole intractable thing.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It goes both ways.
Yes.
If you say from day one, Kyler Murray's going to light the league on fire, and he comes out and he stinks for a 5-game period, and you're still saying he's going to light the league on fire, you sound like a moron.
It's like Suns fans who are angry at Charles Barkley because he says something bad about the Suns. That is so ridiculous. Yeah.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.